The fears and concerns that I have with having my son, my older son that have autism, is what's going to happen in the future, how the people are going to treat him, where he goes, what things he's going to do by himself, which I'm not quite sure that he's ready yet. And that will be probably most afraid. I'm afraid that what's going to happen in the future if I'm not around.
My fears of having a young adult with autism are that what's going to happen with him after he's out of the school system at the age of 21.
The early years, and I mean the early 5 to 10 years, was more based on academics, helping him to learn to speak, helping him to learn to talk, helping him to learn a few things about his environment. Now it's more developing life skills and how's he going to survive as a young adult, and you know, when the time comes when we're not around, is he going to have the basic skills that he's going to need to be able to help take care of himself? So the concerns and fears have kind of ratcheted up from academic to more life skills at this point. Encouraging each other's individual hobbies. The thing with raising a child with a disability is you never seem to have any time at all. You're always involved with your child, and there are times where you just need to get that break where you're not involved for an hour or 2 hours. You're not the parent of an autistic child. You're just a human being going out and mixing with friends. And based on the problem, that it's hard to have somebody there to that you can feel comfortable with your child. One of us is watching the child. So we do a lot of individual things. We do some things together. We try to go out. We have a group of couples that have a dinner club that we meet every spring, where we pick a theme, and it's just 8 adults get together. When our daughter's out of college, we have a chance to go out some more at night, go to dinner, just go out and get away for even if it's an hour or an hour and a half. It's some time that we can spend. We go to a group with our church, and it's just adults, and it's a good chance for it's 2 hours, once a week, to go ahead and spend some time together, and also with other people. So, that's the main thing you got to do, is you got to make time for each other, but you also got to make time for yourselves.
The challenges that I have with my children having autism and my parents being in Puerto Rico is when we get together, try to make my family understand about the syndrome, the Asperger's syndrome, high functioning autism. They didn't get it. They just didn't understand the different behaviors. So I have to teach them constantly, coach them and teach them how to deal with them. And the fact that they speak Spanish, it didn't help. So that was one of my challenges with my family.
So our extended family doesn't deal with Patrick very well. I think they're trying harder than they did when he was younger, because we honestly couldn't even let family members take care of him. We were able to train young people to deal with Patrick better than our own families. As he's gotten older, it's
gotten better, because they seem to relate to him more, because he's made advances, right? So, and I think what has happened is they've become a little bit more comfortable with that. Yes. Yeah, we've used other parents as support also. I mean, it's come in handy in the community, but just there's a sounding board. Sometimes you think you have to think of everything, and you always deal with people that have been down the road beforehand. When we were younger and Patrick was just diagnosed, we relied on some people that had older children that have been down that road. How did they get started? What did they find? So, and as time has gone along and our child's gotten older, we've become a resource. But even by us giving a resource to a parent of a newly diagnosed child and giving them ideas, something might come up from that conversation that can be a great support, can be a great help, and we've used it, and it's helped with Patrick, some advances that Patrick's had, because you just can't think of everything. You want to think that you can think of everything for your child, but you need the people around you to come up with some ideas, and again, shared ideas in the community in places that are more receptive to people with special needs kids.
My husband and I definitely have different roles. He will be the person the go-to person because the man-to-man talk. And then I would be the one just trying to look always for things for my children in terms of scholarships and universities and what they like to do, how to search for those things and make it successful. I am the one that looks for scholarships, and we sat and we enter everything in the computer. We look for what do you want to do in life in your future. So I would be the one, and my husband would be the talker. Let's put it that way.
Well, the roles that we have, both Ruth and I, for Patrick, some are similar, some are different. We rely on each other's strengths. My strength is more of the emotional stability, the financial part, trying to set that up. Ruth's really strong in organization skills and helping with the home program, making sure that stays on track. I'm kind of we kind of split that up because it would be impossible for one to do everything. It just wouldn't work. And the other thing is that we want to use both of our strengths to help Patrick and also to help ourselves to take some of the pressure off each other. Patrick's relationship with his sister has been one of the most important, probably. I think sometimes even more important than our relationship with him, because they're only 20 months apart, so it is kind of a pure thing. And with kids who really aren't that active and interactive with a big group of friends, his relationship with his sister, even younger, she was always, we used to kid her because it was like, all right, you're not his mother. You know, she always wanted to be around him. She always wanted to be his protector. Whenever we would go to the playgrounds together, she was always there to be that. And again, she grew up faster. And what happened is, Patrick noticed his sister a lot more than he noticed any other people. And sometimes he probably noticed her almost more than he noticed us.
I actually educated Wayne very well about puberty. We had an excellent relationship, as we were very close because my ex-husband was not in the picture. We became very close. We talk about everything. Actually, I bought things for him, like condoms, and I was ready to tell him at 18. And 16 and 18, I said, this is what's happening, and this is what's going to happen to you, specific details, and gave him the prevention. And it worked. It worked. He listens to me, and he comes to me if he has any questions about it.
His body has changed a lot, that's for sure, in the past couple of years. We have to pretty much prompt him to use deodorant and to brush his teeth and stuff. He has to, education-wise, he knows that he has to do it. It's become a routine now. We don't really have to explain a lot to Patrick about his self-care and stuff because he doesn't seem to understand. But again, every child is different on the spectrum.
A lot more concerns. I have a lot of concerns because when you can handle better a little child, but when he becomes a teenager and then an adult, they have their own belief, they have their own way to do things, and they might not be the right ones sometimes. So my concerns are safety and going out in the world. We want him to definitely finish his bachelor degree, and I would love for him to pick where he wants to go and work, which is probably going to be around this area in any digital entertainment industry.
the stress is always there that you always want your child to talk back to you. You want to have a conversation with your child. We're not going to have a conversation with Patrick. But it doesn't mean you don't try to have a conversation with Patrick, because eventually you never know when's the day, what's going to happen. You keep working and you keep trying and you keep not getting defeated, and you just keep understanding that eventually something's going to happen. There's going to be a reaction.
We started, he wanted to be an engineer, and he went in high school. He took a special courses on engineering, and he did very well. He was in a transition program, which trains you to be in a secluded environment, and then they put you out with the general population in the school. That worked perfectly. And then we planned his 2 years to take associate degree, and he's graduating this year. And then he's pursuing digital entertainment at the University of Baltimore.
The way we've worked with Patrick to transition out of high school is we're working more on doing community things and independent living skills. But we've also been working with our transition coordinators at the school on getting him into some job training through his school so that he possibly could get a job. What they do through his high school is try him out with different jobs in the school first, such as washing the tables or sweeping or filling orders for the teachers, and then they slowly take them out into community and do jobs in that sense.
Services for Patrick, accessing them. We've become more comfortable because we've been involved in it so long. There are always changes and restrictions and things that you have to adapt to. We haven't seen a real huge problem in accessing the services. What we're seeing is the services that are there are starting to be limited a little bit more. And what we're seeing is after he gets out of the 21-year-old, those services are probably going to be very difficult. So the experience that we've had in dealing with the system has helped us stay pretty steady on the service levels that he's received at this age, but there's a lot of concern about what's going to happen in the future. Raising a child with a disability is a financial stress, and it's a burden. When we first started, it was really bad because we had to self-fund everything. As we continued to work through the school system and basically convince the school system that they needed to help with this funding service for his in-house program, it lessened. But then that ran out when he was 7. So from 7 to 9, we had to self-fund it by ourselves. We had limited hours that my wife could work to help contribute to it, and it puts a tremendous financial burden, and it drains you financially. Planning for Patrick's needs financially in the future has been, it's really important, and it's probably the thing that most families don't start soon enough and don't understand enough and don't do. We have wills and letters of intent and powers of attorney and medical powers of attorney, and we have special needs trust set up. And what the special needs trust does is it allows money to go into it, but it doesn't count as Patrick, and it acts as a supplement for disability, Social Security, SSI income, Social Security, supplementary Social Security income, where if you have $2,000 in your name, you can lose your federal benefits, not only your state benefits, but your federal benefits. But it has to be set up properly, and it has to be set up with a specialist, and you need to really work with people who specialize in this, or else it could disqualify the child for benefits, and that's the last thing you need to do.